Gatorade. You've had one after a run, a game, a rough morning. But here's what you didn't know. It was invented because Florida Gators football players were collapsing on the field. In 1965, coaches went to University of Florida researcher Dr. Robert Cade and asked a simple question: why do our players never urinate during games? Cade investigated and found the answer. The players were losing so much water and salt through sweat that their bodies had nothing left to excrete. He mixed water, sodium, sugar, and lemon juice in his kitchen and gave it to the players. The Gators went on to win the Orange Bowl, and Georgia Tech's coach said afterward that Gatorade made the difference. Today, Gatorade is a $6 billion a year brand sold in over 80 countries. Not bad for a kitchen experiment in Gainesville. But Florida didn't just invent what you drink. It invented how you stay cool. Air conditioning wasn't born in Florida. Willis Carrier invented the first modern system in 1902 in New York. But here's the twist. Florida is the reason AC is in your home right now. The technology sat in factories and industrial buildings for decades. It was Florida's brutal, suffocating heat that forced developers and architects to put it in residences. In 1925, Miami's Riviera Theater became one of the first fully air-conditioned public buildings in America. Florida's demand turned AC from an industrial tool into a household standard, and every state, every country copied that model. The global AC industry is now worth $130 billion. And consider this, before air conditioning, Florida's population was under 800,000. Today, it's 22 million. Florida didn't just adopt AC. Florida made AC something everyone had to have. And if Florida changed how you stay cool, it definitely changed what you pour at breakfast. Frozen concentrated orange juice, the stuff in the carton or the can, was invented in 1948 at a USDA research lab in Winter Haven, Florida, by Dr. Louis Gardner McDowell, Cedric Donald Atkins, and James Worth Ezell. They were trying to solve a World War II problem. How do you ship vitamin C to troops overseas without it rotting? Earlier, concentrate tasted terrible, like cooked metal. They cracked it by blending a small amount of fresh juice back into the concentrate to restore the flavor. The product launched as Minute Maid and became the first food product ever advertised on national television. Bing Crosby promoted it. Remember, Florida still produces over 70% of American orange juice today, and frozen OJ futures are actively traded on Wall Street. Florida weather doesn't just affect Florida, it moves global commodity markets. Now let's talk about the brands you've eaten at and trusted. All born in Florida. The Whopper. You've had one. But Burger King didn't start in Miami or New York or Chicago. It started in Jacksonville, Florida in 1953 as Insta Burger King, founded by Keith Kramer and Matthew Burns. They built the whole operation around a flame-broiling machine called the Insta Broiler. That's where the flame-grilled thing comes from. And it was engineered from day one. The concept was bought by James McLemore and David Edgerton in Miami in 1954, who renamed it Burger King. The first Whopper was served in 1957 in Gainesville, Florida, same city as Gatorade, priced at 37 cents, specifically designed to outsize McDonald's. Today, there are over 18,000 Burger King locations in 100 countries, generating over $10 billion in annual system sales. McDonald's gets all the glory, but the Whopper started in Jacksonville. Coppertone, that orange bottle at every beach bag, every poolside, every summer vacation. Modern sunscreen as a product came from Miami Beach. In 1944, a World War II airman and chemist named Benjamin Green needed sun protection for pilots flying missions in the Pacific. He experimented with red veterinary petrolatum, basically a thick industrial grease. He refined it, brought it to market, and sold it as Coppertone. The Coppertone Girl billboard that followed became one of the most recognized advertising images in American history. The brand sold for $550 million in 2019. And Green's crude formula was the foundation that eventually led to the modern SPF rating system used on every sunscreen bottle worldwide. But not everything Florida invented was planned. Some of the best ones were complete accidents. Electronic toll collection, that little transponder on your windshield, the one that beeps and lets you sail through without stopping. Florida invented it. In 1992, the Florida Turnpike became the first statewide electronic toll system in the United States. The reason was pure Florida logic. The state had one of the most congested highway systems in the country, tens of millions of tourists flooding in every year, eyes and toll booth backups that stretched for miles. Florida DOT deployed a large-scale electronic solution first, and every other state watched and copied it. Today, over 30 countries use electronic toll systems modeled on what Florida built on the Turnpike in 1992. Every time you blow through a toll without stopping, you can thank Florida. Now, the ones that didn't just change Florida, they changed the world. Every space launch you've ever watched happened in Florida. Kennedy Space Center, Cape Canaveral. NASA chose Florida for a specific reason. It sits closer to the equator than any other continental U.S. location, which means a rocket launching east can use the Earth's rotation to gain extra velocity, saving enormous amounts of fuel. On July 16, 1969, Apollo 11 lifted off from Cape Canaveral and put humans on the moon for the first time in history. Every crewed American spacecraft since has launched from Florida soil. Today, the Space Coast is home to NASA, SpaceX, and Blue Origin, generating $26 billion in annual economic impact on Florida. Cape Canaveral was a mosquito-infested sandbar before 1950. Today, it's the most active launch site on Earth. The modern hurricane tracking system, every hurricane warning that has ever told you to evacuate, every forecast cone you've watched crawl across a map. That system was built and modernized in Florida. The National Hurricane Center has been based in Miami since 1898. After the catastrophic 1935 Labor Day hurricane that killed over 400 people with almost no warning, the federal government dramatically expanded forecasting capabilities based in Florida. The NHC pioneered the forecast cone model, the named storm system, and the satellite tracking integration that now provides warnings days in advance. The system saves thousands of lives every year, globally. Not just in Florida, in the Caribbean, the Gulf, the Atlantic coast, all coordinated from Miami. Okay, these last ones you are not going to believe. Bigfoot has a cousin. His name is the skunk ape, and Florida invented him. Sightings began in the Everglades in the 1960s. A large, foul-smelling ape-like creature allegedly lurking in the cypress swamps near Ochapi. The skunk ape research headquarters in Ochapi is a real, operating roadside attraction you can visit today. Florida's dense, dark, largely unexplored swamp terrain made it the perfect incubator for cryptid mythology. And the skunk ape launched an entire subgenre of American folklore tourism. You thought Florida was just beaches. It also gave the world its own swamp monster. Spring break, every college road trip, every beach movie, every March migration. It started in Fort Lauderdale. In 1938, the Colgate University swim team traveled to Fort Lauderdale to train in warm water. Word spread. By the 1960s, 50,000 students were descending on Fort Lauderdale every March. The 1958 novel Where the Boys Are and the 1960 film adaptation turned Fort Lauderdale into the official spring break destination of American culture. And then, Florida invented it, and Florida had to kill it. Fort Lauderdale banned spring break in the 1980s because it spiraled completely out of control. The tradition migrated to Daytona Beach and Panama City Beach, still Florida. Spring break generates over $1 billion for Florida's economy every single year. Florida didn't just host it, Florida invented it, then had to kick it out of town. Which invention surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. And if you're from Florida, tell me what I missed. If you want to know where the things you use every day actually came from, the states, the cities, the countries, subscribe.